there is a question that people might be asked. Why in Iraq, when the Mughal attacked, with of course the blessings and the calls of the so-called Shiite, you cannot believe this, but the so-called Shiite enjoy the invasion of the Mughals. This is facts, and there is certain names that can be used as an evidence. Why? Why they attacked the libraries? The libraries. They attacked the libraries and took the books and threw it into the river. Exactly like Andalusia, Spain. When those who are called Catholic, Roman Catholic, the so-called Christians, entered to Spain, they burned a lot of Islamic library. Why? Now remember, Baghdad was a capital of knowledge, like Andalusia, and some libraries there, and some cities there. It was honestly countries of knowledge. Why did those invaders attack the libraries precisely? The answer is very clear, and it's very obvious, and it's a sad reason. When it's come to the so-called, now just before I enter to the answer, all this explanation that I am bringing is considered 1 out of 1,000. The reality behind the so-called Shiite. Who are the so-called Shiite? Why there is a so-called Shiite? Why the Virgin invested in the death of Imam Hussein, the grandson of our Prophet, the final messenger of God? How the devil renewed the dark school. It's study Majusi, study Sufi, Safawi, not Sufi, Safawi. Now regardless who we which school we mean by the Sufi. Now regardless, Safawi, Majusi, the dark reformation, and relating it to Zardashan as well. Now, if you look of some of my explanation, it's not even 1 out of 1,000 of what was written in the libraries. How Abu Lu'lu al-Majusi and things like that. Why they hated Umar ibn Khattab. Why they invented the so-called Shiite Islam. How the devil, all this was written in libraries. And the Mughal, you can see, for example, the Hazrat in Afghanistan. They are descended of the Mughals. Many of those Mughals were approached, and they are so-called Shiite, approached by the so-called Shiite Persian, an Irani, an Eastern who settled in Iraq. And they start explaining to them that these Abbasi, who are Hashimi as well, who are from the family of Muhammad, are representing the Sunnah, Nasibi, Sunnah, which is not Islam. And they are behind, you understand? So the so-called Shiite were celebrating the invasion. Yes, they did. The invasion of the Mughals to Iraq, because they considered Abbasid something. The way it is similar example, though it's a different scenario. The way the so-called Shiite look at Saddam. That Saddam represents Sunnah. And he's not Shia, he's not Slavic, he's not bringing these practices. All what exposed these practices and explained that it got nothing to do with Islam, okay, was written in the libraries. Written A to Z. It's not the network, it's not internet. So there is end-time prophecy about the Twitter and Facebook and the thoughts worldwide. The hadith. There was libraries, so they knew, and the so-called Shiite got no chance whatsoever. There was no Uthmanic Safawi. There was the Abbasi, and the Abbasi at that time, it was the almost a final level, is it, or one of the first level of the final of what we can call the golden age or the knowledge age. If a so-called Shiite, he would not, I didn't come to Spain, he would not dare come and say, oh Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. He wouldn't dare. He wouldn't come in Baghdad at the time of Abbasid. No. Because everyone knows that he wouldn't, who would put his head down. The so-called Shiite are those leaders who are relating themselves to the family of Muhammad, and they literally say and announce with each other that they got nothing to do with Islam or Muhammad. Nothing whatsoever. Zero. They got nothing to do with Islam and Muhammad. They know it. So they needed something to ruin this knowledge, so that they would dare and come and say, we are the Jihad of Muhammad. We are loving the family of Muhammad. Why you are Sunnis? Why, you understand me? While the ignorance within the public would allow them to increase their practices and relate themselves to the family of Muhammad, etc. You go to Spain, exactly. When you go to Spain, why did they attack the libraries? Why did they attack the libraries in Andalusia? Because I did not even say 1 out of 1,000 of the reality of the cross. The reality in interpreting the verses of Quran, comparing to what the native Andalusian, who are Muslims, used to do. That's why the European used to pick special type of student to go and study there. And the so-called Christian who knew, like the Pope when he said, Jesus, the name of the Messiah, have helped us a lot this myth. Yes, he did. Look how they dealt with the dolphin. Don't be angry. They needed ignorance. Ignorance, they found it in Andalusia. Oh, the cross have nothing to do with the Messiah. And we know this Messiah of ours has got nothing to do with the son of Virgin Mary. Oh, we know. The Roman are exposed. Them and their cults, A to Z, in these Andalusian libraries. They needed ignorance. You understand me? And if anyone dare bring a book from Andalusia among the public, he's burned alive. He's dead. Do you see? That's why they entered and they ruined and they burned these libraries. Exactly like the Mughals, when they entered, filled with this spiritual taghutic related to their pagan or spiritual type, with the help of the so-called Shiite, who said, if you want to defeat Islam, burn the libraries. And even the Abbasid Khilafah, they made this rumor that the Abbasid Khilafah said, if you kill me, God will curse you. That's why they put him, rubbish, they put him under what you call sajjad. They hide him like with some blankets, and then they took the horses, and the horses went above his body until he's dead. So they used to believe, those Mughals, they used to believe in certain spiritual satanic things. And the so-called Shiite worked with them. You understand me? That's why. So the so-called Shiite leaders who could not, there's a word, prosper, no, could not process, could not work, couldn't, what is the word? There is a word for it. They couldn't, there is a word for it. They couldn't work. They can't work in Baghdad. They can work in some area in Iran. They knew that they got nothing to do with the family of Muhammad. At the time of Abbasid, they knew 100%. They say, we are Shiite, we are not Muslim. Shiite loyal. Yeah? Indeed, you will be questioning what I'm saying if you are in this dirty dark groups. The so-called Christian as well. They knew that this cross got nothing to do with the real true Messiah, with the Supreme Creator, God Almighty, with Allah, Ilahum, Israel, Ishmael, Ibrahim. They know, they just use this manipulation to bring their cult. Now, the so-called Shiite can do whatever they want in Karbala, Baghdad. And no, there is a lot of Sunnis who are ignorant. They are not like me. They can't see what's behind. A lot of practices that got nothing to do with Islam. I can see what's behind them. Nothing to do with Islam. And they believe. They know it. They understand it. It's not like the public of the so-called Shiite. They say they are Shiite and this is their Imam. Or Imam. No, they knew the Imam and the leaders. So many among them, they knew that they got nothing to do with the family of Muhammad. Wallahi, they got nothing to do with Islam. They just use this taghutic, their cult, and they hate the guts of Arabs. This is another reason. I'm gonna stop so that you wouldn't delete the video. And this is, and those who call themselves Christian as well, in their churches when they were in church, sitting in their church and preaching, they hated the guts of what's in the libraries in Andalusia. And they said, we need to destroy this. We need to destroy what's in the libraries of Iraq, Baghdad, and we need to destroy what's in Andalusia, in the library of Andalusia. This is the truth. This is the truth. I have explained about this before in my video channel, and I thought it's there in my best no. It was in a channel that was deleted. It had maybe 12 video, I think it was deleted. So I'm uploading it again. Did you see why the so-called Shiite wanted to convince the Mughal through the all sort of this is not rubbish, convincing the Mughals? Read the history, study the history, look into the history. Just that so-called Shiite, the leaders, they said this is Sunni Nasibi Abbasid, though they are the family of Muhammad. And those who are related to some sort of family in Asia who got nothing to do with the family of Muhammad want to get rid of the Abbasid Khilafah. And one of the main reasons, though they were Hashimis, بناء الليلة السوداء بناء الليلة السوداء الشيطان يعرفهم زين يعرف أمهاتهم أشكالهم زينة. Okay, so that you would prosper. One of the main reasons that we need is what's in the library. It's not even 1 out of 1,000 of what 1 out of, I'm not saying even 1 out of 100,000 or 10,000 of what was written in this library. So the Mughal immediately targeted the library, and they used to believe that these libraries have some sort, if they want to win in success against and take everything related to the Abbasid Khilafah, regardless he was a figure there, and take over Islam, they need to finish what's in the libraries. There was no reason for them, the Mughal, to attack the libraries. This is the reason. A to Z, finish. I don't need to explain more. The so-called Christian as well, when they entered Jerusalem as well in the first crusade, this is the reason. The library exposed them. What I am saying, I'm not even saying 1 out of 100,000, I'm not exaggerating. 1 out of 10,000, 1 out of 1,000, in so many aspects concerning the faith, of the reality of the word Jesus, the reality of the so-called Christian faith, Trinity, the Roman, what's before Constantine, after Constantine. And they know it, these popes and bishops. They literally know it. And this is one of the reasons that establishing the Protestant movement, though it is in deep shit as well. Oh, definitely. They know that this is, but in comparison to the universal Roman Catholic, they wanted to get rid of what's written in this library, and they know deep inside them, they know that they got nothing to do with the true Messiah, the so-called Shiite and the so-called Christian and others as well. There is a lot of so-called Shiite who say the following: if Muhammad is like you're saying, Tariq, I don't want to believe in Islam. Well, mind me, please. I am the one who should say, not you. If Muhammad is exactly like you're saying in the family of Muhammad, like what you're doing, then I don't want Islam. It's secularism and liberalism, remember? Do you remember? Yeah. We don't want Christianity if it's not matching the way we want. We don't like Judea. I don't want Judea. Judea is not is not representing my agenda. Yes, the so-called Hindus, the so-called Buddhists, but this video is about the libraries. Why the so-called Shiite worked with the Mughal to destroy what's in the library of Baghdad, and why the so-called Christian burned and damaged a lot of libraries in the First Crusade or in Andalusia of knowledge. This is the reason. I think that the video is fine. One, oh definitely. Secondly, there is no need to delete it, and what I said is obvious. I don't need to explain more. It's easy to understand. The truth I'm explaining to you here.